Hello everyone, in this video we will discuss the difference between correlated subquery and join operations in SQL and why joins are often better option for performance and readability. We will demonstrate how to rewrite a query that uses correlated subquery and show how the same results can be achieved with a join class. Okay, let's write a query to fetch employee details who has salary greater than average salary of their department. So we have table employee. In this table we have 6 records. So the first 2 employees belongs to the department ID 1. So their average salary is around 55,000. So here from this department, the employee whose salary is greater than average salary, that is 55,000, is employee ID 2, that is Jane Smith. So we need to fetch this record from this department. Similarly, from the department 2, the average salary is 625,000. So the employee higher than average salary is employee ID 4, Sarah. So we need to fetch this record, and from this department 3 we need to fetch the record 6. Okay, so let's write a query using correlated subquery. Select first name, salary, department ID from table employee. I'm going to give alias as E. Where let's leave the condition here, we will assign the condition. Now I'm going to write inner query. Select average of salary from employee table where department ID is equal to E dot department ID. So what is correlated subquery? In simple terms, a correlated subquery is a type of subquery in SQL where the inner query is, so this is the inner query dependent on the outer query. How it is dependent? It is dependent on the ID from the outer query, department ID. Meaning that inner query is executed repeatedly for each row processed by the outer query. For example, from the outer query we are fetching first name, salary, department ID from table employee. So it will fetch the first record. Okay, so that is employee ID 1 with the department ID 1. So whenever it fetches the first record, the inner query is also executed. Now it passes department ID 1 to the inner query. This is like a for loop. So here first record, for first record it will pass department ID 1. Okay, and it finds the average salary for the department ID 1. So the average salary for department ID 1 is 55,000. Here we need to find only the salary greater than we need to fetch only the records with salary greater than the average salary. So we are keeping here greater than. Okay, so when the query runs again for the second record, so that is 1, it is the same, and average salary is 55,000. It will check whether the salary of this employee is greater than 55,000 or not, and returns the output. Let's say now query is running for the third row. So now it passes the department ID 2, okay, and checks the average salary and finds the average salary from the inner query for department 2. So that is average salary for department 2 is 625,000. And now it checks the salary of this record to 25,000 greater or not, 625,000. So this is the less value, so this record will return false. Similarly, for the next record, for next employee ID 4, it will check the average salary, that is the same value because the department ID is 2, and now this time it returns true and gives the value and gives the output 4. Like that, it will check for every department ID whenever it fetches the data from the outer query. So this is like a loop that runs the inner query every time outer query is executed. Let me run this query to see the output. Yeah, so we have the output which is expected. Now let's write the query using join condition for the same purpose, to get the uh, employee IDs who has salary greater than average salary of their department. As you know, we can achieve the SQL query results using different ways. So we will now use join to get the same result. Select e dot, I'm going to give alias e as for the employee table. So e dot first name, e dot salary, e dot department ID from table employee join select department ID comma average of salary as average salary from TBL employee group by department ID. So let's see the output of this query. So this query actually returns ID and department ID and average salary. Let me run this query to see the output. Okay, so this is the average salary. This is the average salary for each department. Okay, now we are joining this subquery as one table. So we need to give alias for this subquery as sub. We are joining on department ID. E dot department ID is equal to, so this table sub dot department ID. So let me run this query. So we just have the table data, and now we are going to add one condition that gives the required result, and e dot salary greater than sub dot average salary. Now what happens? Now here we have two tables. So let me copy this data. Let me run this subquery and copy the data and paste it here. Okay, now what we are doing, we are joining these two tables, this table and this table, on department ID, and adding another condition where we are checking whether the average salary is greater than or average salary. Okay, so first we are joining on department id dot department id, so that is these two tables. This is the subquery table and this is the actual employee table. So when you join on id 1, there is a matching record 1 and it checks the average salary 55,000 is greater than 50,000 or not. So for this the condition is false, so it won't fetch this record. And there's one more matching record with id 1, so it again goes for this record and checks the salary, average salary. So we have one more condition here, that is salary greater than average salary. So here it is false, here it is true. For this department id 2, we have a matching record in the table 2, and we have one more condition, salary greater than average salary. It is false, true. So similarly for 3, there is a matching record, department id 3, and the value is less than the average salary, so it returns false and true. Okay, so this is how this query works and it gives the same result. Okay, let me run this query. Yes, we have the same result. Okay, so we can achieve the query using correlated subquery and also using joins. When should we use, or should we not use correlated subquery? There is no inherent issue with using correlated subqueries. However, there are certain situations where using correlated subquery can lead to performance issues. This is because correlated subquery is executed once for each row processed by the outer query, which we have seen in the example, which can lead to a high number of queries being executed. In general, it is recommended to avoid using correlated subqueries when possible and instead try to use alternate query techniques such as joins, as we have seen in this case, or non-correlated subquery if it is possible. However, there may be situations where a correlated subquery is the most efficient way to write a query. In that case, it should be used. It is important to consider the specific requirements of the query and the data being queried to determine the best approach.